Hey folks, Mr. Justin here with Secret Weapon Miniatures and another 2-minute tutorial for you. This one by request, a look at how to create streaking effects with pigments. What we're going to do is make a pigment wash, and what I did is create a heavy streak here, a lighter streak there, I've actually washed most of it away, and then a big tide marky streak here. Now for the video, I'm working with pigment and isopropyl in the wash. Of course, just as I've said before in other pigment videos, with the isopropyl and paint, you got to be careful because it will create a more permanent bond with your model than you might want. If you're really concerned about being able to clean away the excess pigment, thin it with water. Probably the safest option for you. The viscosity, there's pros and cons for both sides. But today I'm going to be using isopropyl. I have a lighter pigment, so we'll be able to tell the difference here. I've got my burning sands, and you can see, I'm using just a tiny bit. Which is about how much I put into this cup as well. In this case, I use the dark yellow. And that is way too much for what we're going to be doing, but it'll work nicely, easy to measure. Got a fair bit of isopropyl in there that's coming out of my airbrush cleaning bottle. This is the isopropyl bottle. And I've got a fine tip brush. Now this is an old brush. This is a rubbish brush for me now. It's one that the tip is worn out and all that. Otherwise, I certainly wouldn't be using it for isopropyl. I use my synthetic brushes for that. A couple of options. First, in this case, I've made it nice and thin. I'm going to go ahead and get some of that liquid off on the wall. I'm going to start at the bottom of my streak and pull up. It gets into that nice recess right there. I'm also going to try and apparently spill the cup. Come up about 2/3, a little bit more, pulling it up. And now I'm just going to blow on it for a sec. Again, the benefits to isopropyl. That you can see how it starts to show up, and that's why I always tell people when you're working with pigments, don't overdo it. You might think you don't have enough, but until it dries, you can never be sure. So now what I've done is I've actually just loaded some water on my brush. I've got my little water pot right here, paper towel so I can dab it off a bit. I need it to be damp, not wet, and I'm pulling up again towards the pigment, or towards the top of my surface, cleaning out the excess here. If it's really stuck in there, pop out a cotton swab. You'll need to swap cotton swabs fairly regularly, of course, because they're going to build up pigment on the end of them. And then you just wind up smearing it around. And of course, you can see that the water I'm using to clean up doesn't dry as quickly. But just like that. Little streaky effect. And of course, if you want to go all in, load that bad boy up, get your pigment, find a spot, start at the top. You can let it run down naturally. Well, maybe a little encouragement this time. Let me mix that one up again. Too much water in there. There we go. We'll load that up. Boom. You can see how it's flowing down the side there. I'm going to wick away the last of that excess moisture down here. I'm just going to dab along the edge. Suck up some of that excess isopropyl. And there you go, a little bit of streaking. It's going to dry a bit more. So you get that heavy pooling. And obviously if I want to go a little lighter than that, well, all I have to do is use a bit less. I can still load it in at the top, let it streak down naturally, but it's going to pull down nice and slow. I can encourage it, just pull. So for large areas like on buildings, things like that, if you've got a drain pipe or something, the streaking like this works very well. You can just put a big dollop of this stuff right there, say where the pipe goes into the bricks or into the concrete of the wall or something like that, and you get that nice rusty look down here. Do it in a couple of layers and you'll get that buildup of different colors. Verdigris, it works well like this as well if it's streaking down through bronze. If you're trying to do something like, oh, I don't know, say you've got dirt buildup on the wheels of a bike, and you're trying to take that little wheel cover there and bring it streaking back so that you want to match both the color and the texture of the pigment that you used on the wheel, yeah, no problem. Start at the front, boom, get a little thinner on your brush, streak it back, and you get that nice look like we got here. And that's it. I hope this helps. Any questions, of course, it's Mr. Justin at seekweaponminiatures.com, facebook.com/seekweaponminiatures, and if there's anything you'd like to see me cover, drop a note. I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.